Greetings and peace. My name is RA IMHOTEP. I'm broadcasting on behalf of 13signsastrology.com. Doing this video today on a very interesting topic. Some people are very familiar with this topic, but I'm going to get into some basic forms of metaphysics for those, that may not be as knowledgeable on the metaphysical doctrine or the metaphysical subject as some other students and seekers of truth out there are. So I want to get into talking about the aura and why the aura is important and what it is and how you can work with it. Now, the aura basically is what you would call pretty much your light body. I mean, we in the metaphysical community talk a lot about being light workers, and we talk a lot about getting your light body so that you can ascend into the next dimension. We know that the Pleiadians have came to different channelers and have communicated to them that in order for humanity to ascend to the next level, we're going to have to basically enter into our light body. Now, in this video, I'm going to be actually doing another video on the Merkaba really soon. So this is kind of like a prelude to the Merkaba, because the Merkaba is kind of like going to take you to the next level. But first, you have to understand the aura before you can really understand the Merkaba and exactly what it is. Now, your light body is important. Your light body is important because this is actually, when people talk about your soul and things of this nature, really your soul is in actuality, your soul, your light body is an aspect of your soul, I should say. It's not your soul, but it's an aspect of it. So when you talk about your light body and things like that, your soul basically is your light body. So when you look at someone's aura, which is basically like a halo around them, and like in the Christian religion or whatever, you would see the halos around the different angels' heads, and you would see a halo around Jesus and a light around Jesus. Well, this aura, this light is the aura, or this halo is the aura. So the light body is very, very important, beloveds. It's very important as far as when you talk about being spiritual. Because like all of us, we want to be spiritual. You're like, well, I'm spiritual and I'm this and I'm that. Well, your aura is basically a measuring stick, a measuring rod to help you to see exactly where you are on a spiritual level. And I'll help you to understand that. Now, everyone, for the most part, has an aura around them. Some people's auras isn't as radiant and isn't as intense and even isn't as large around them as others. But we all have an aura. Now, a lot of what you would call yogis and a lot of spiritualists and a lot of masters, their auras are like huge. Like you have everybody can have a different size aura. So some yogis and some spiritual masters and different spiritual teachers and gurus out there, they have like huge auras, meaning that their aura can be like, I've heard like some people's auras being 30 to 40 feet extending from the top of their crown chakra, meaning that their aura is so huge that, it's 30 to 40 feet outside the crown chakra and around the whole body itself. So they have an aura that's over 30 or 40 feet. I've even heard some auras being 100 feet, some spiritual masters and yogis. And there's a way that you can work with your aura to basically extend it and to make your aura more radiant. There's a way that you can work with your energy to do these things. But yeah, everybody has a different color aura as well. You can have a red aura, you can have a indigo aura, you can have a green aura, you can have a white aura. Some people have a mixture of those different colors. And actually, if you have angels around you and guardians and like what I call like intelligences around you, they would be inside of your aura. So when you start talking about communicating with higher beings and higher intelligence, this is basically going back to the doctrine and the system of the aura. Because all of these intelligences are located within what you would call your light body or your aura. So say, for instance, if you always get communications from angels and you felt like it was always something guarding you and you just felt like you had this guardian or this protector around you, that's basically locked into your aura. This guardian is in your aura. And there's a way that you can actually view the aura through a system called Kirlian photography. They discovered one can take a picture of you and you can see the angels and the different entities that are around you and that are located within your aura. Now, there are some people like that are gifted in looking at auras, and I'm actually one of them. I can actually see your color of your aura. I can look at you and tell you the color of your aura at that particular time by based on even just seeing a picture of you. I can I can see your aura or whatever. And for those of you that may be interested in, you know, getting an aura reading from me or whatever, I mean, very, very economical, just like all my other readings. And you send a picture of yourself and basically you'll see your aura or whatever. So if you're interested in that, shoot me an email at 13scienceastrology@gmail.com. But anyway, so when you start talking about auras, you can change the color of your aura. You can change the color of your aura, and the color of your aura reflects your mood or your state at that particular time. Now, most of us have a dominant color, basically the color that our aura is generally, and that's based on where you vibrate, which chakra you vibrate from. So your main aura, your main color is based on the chakra that you vibrate from or the chakra that you live from. Like all of us, for the most part, live from maybe one or two chakras. So when you start talking about the color of your aura, is based on the chakra that you're living from. So say, for instance, if you're a very compassionate being, very sensitive being, you might be living from the heart chakra. Your aura will mostly be either a green or a pinkish color when you're living from the heart chakra. If you're, say, for instance, if you're always worried, you're always stressed out, but you're always like in survival mode and, you know, I got to get this money. And, you know, you're just one of those type of people. You probably have a red aura. You know what I'm saying? Because you're living from what's called below the navel, or you're living from your root chakra. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a red aura, you know, because the color red, kind of like, it's low level, it is lower energy, but it's very important depending on what type of spiritual work you're trying to do. So don't knock anyone just because they have a red aura, because your aura may be purple, which is, you know, on a higher level. Those people that have a purple aura are living from the mental realm, living from the spiritual realm through the pineal gland, because this is the pineal gland color, which is actually purple. The pineal gland chakra is purple. So when you're living from that, you're detached. You really don't hold on to things at all. But those people tend to, at the same time, have survival issues. So yeah, you might have a purple aura, you're detached from the physical world, but you're very much still physical. So having a red aura basically makes you more physical and more on a lower level survival mode. So yeah, basically your aura is based on your mood and where you are, what you reflect on a day-to-day basis. Now, you can actually change the color and the energy of your aura, believe it or not. You can change it. So there's ways that you can do it. There's spiritual meditations and spiritual practices that you can do to change the color of your aura. So say, for instance, you want to move from a red or you want to move up to yellow. There is meditations, there is spiritual rituals and occult rituals that you can perform, that you can get into to learn how to change the color of your aura. And why would you want to change the color of your aura? When you start dealing with the law of attraction, you attract things based on your aura, believe it or not. Your aura, the color of your aura, is one of the key ingredients in attracting various different things to yourself, because everything in this universe has a color or something attached to it. Everything that's living anyway. So you start talking about attracting things or whatever that you want to, like for instance, you want to attract a relationship, or you want to attract a certain economic situation. All of these things have different auras. And even basically there's things that you could do to change your aura or whatever. Through meditation is one of them. You can change your aura through sex. You can change your aura from actually going and living in a different location. Like if you say, for instance, you were in one location, if you move to another location, you can change your aura that way. So that's kind of like the to lay a foundation on the auras. Now let me go into a little bit of bonus information as far as the light body or the aura. Now, depending on where you're at, geographically speaking, this can actually affect your aura as well, because where you're at has an aura to it as well. And this is important right here. So say, for instance, if you have a red aura and you're in a place that's reflecting, now there's not a lot of places on the planet that reflect the purple aura, keep in mind, because the purple is a spiritual, it's on a high spiritual level. So you would have to be like almost in a place where it's a lot of spiritual beings, which is probably outside of the United States of America, where the aura is like purple. But say, for instance, some kind of way you have a red aura and you were living in a place where, like, your aura is red, but you're living in a place where the the aura, I mean, where the color, because the geographical locations have auras, and I'll go more into this in my video I'm going to do on the 2 matrices. But geographic locations have auras. So say, for instance, you're living in a place that has a purple aura, you have a red aura, you're going to be out of balance in that place because you're going to be in root survival mode. You know, getting this money, survival of the fittest, only the strong survive. These are all red type of energies. And if you're in a purple place, they're all about detachment, meditation, being into, you know what I'm saying, their higher systems of spirituality. So they're not really, their whole, basically the groups of people that form this purple aura within that environment that you're at, they're not really too much worried about the stuff that you're worried about. So you're kind of like in a bad position because either you're going to have to move if you want to be more so in a place that has a red aura, or if you want to basically feel comfortable where you're at, you're going to have to raise your energy to where you're at. Now, us occultists and us spiritualists and people like that, a lot of times we're disgruntled with being here in the matrix or whatever. And I'm going to explain to you why. Because here in the matrix, and when I say here, I'm mainly talking about the headquarters of the matrix, which is located in America, in the US, and in Europe as well. Especially America is the headquarters of the matrix for many different reasons. And over here, for the most part, the aura is like red for the most part. And that's because of the mindset of the people. They create the aura of this particular location. It's called locational aura. So a group of people create the aura based on the geographic location where they're at. So here in America, most people are in root chakra survival mode. So when you start getting into the occult and spirituality and things like that, a lot of us have a hard time making it in the matrix. And that's because the aura of the matrix is red. And when you start getting into spirituality, you're like on a yellow, green, blue, and purple level. So you're like higher than this red level or whatever. So it can get hard. It can get hard. And that's why you have to learn how to, like when people start talking about shape shifting, believe it or not, shape shifting is dealing with the aura as well. So when you start talking about shape shifting, you have to learn how to shape shift so that you can match your aura to the certain location where you're at, so that you can be basically in a state of cohesiveness, and so you can feel at home and at peace where you're at. So you have to learn how to change your energy. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just, I mean, if you have this certain aura and then but the place where you're at has another aura, you can really mess yourself up like that, because it's like, that's what happens to a lot of spiritual people, because we can't really make it in the matrix because, you know, we don't know how to shape shift and change our aura for different situations. You know what I'm saying? Like we're very rigid. Most people are. You're like, I'm like this and this is how I am and this is how I'm going to be. But you have to learn how to shape shift. See, the ancients dealt with shape shifting, meaning you shapeshift to fit the situation where you're at. So we're mutable creatures, actually, humans are. So we need to stop getting on that I'm fixed and I'm this way and I'm not going to change. Like the only constant is change. So you have to be able to change yourself and change your aura so that you can attract the things to yourself that you need based on the environment where you're at. Now, if it's just to the point where you're not happy, you can always move. That's another option. If your aura is one way and you don't like it where you're at, then you can move, because like I said, different places have different auras. And the aura thing can get deep. This is really just the basics of it. I'll give you one more piece of information in regards to auras, and this is very important. You can also, it's actually can be bad to have a huge aura. In the beginning of this video, I talked about yogis and spiritualists, and I know everybody's all hyped, like, yeah, I want a huge aura. You know what I'm saying? Because all these yogis having this, that's the ideal thing. Not necessarily. It's good on one level. That's why I talked about shape shifting. But you have to learn how to, too, you can make your aura disappear. You can have no aura. And actually, this is going to get into a different subject, but you can make basically what most people would call your aura black. Not gray, because a gray aura is one thing. That means you're toxic. But you could actually have a black aura, meaning that there is no light. There is no dominant light that dominates you. Because black is actually all lights put together form dark matter or black. So you can make your aura black, and then that's when you start dealing with higher communications and higher extraterrestrials, actually Etherian type of extraterrestrials. And I know those of you don't know what Etherians are. I'll do a video on the Etherian extraterrestrials. You can start dealing with Etherian extraterrestrials with a black aura, and then you start dealing with intelligences when you have a black aura that are outside of this region, in this space and time, and even outside of this universe even. Because this universe is on the light side of everything, or the light spectrum. It's on the light side of matter, but then you have a dark side of matter, and actually the dark side of matter makes up 95% of the universe. And there's different of the multiverse, I should say. So you being on this light side of the spectrum, you're only in 5% of the multiverse. So you really only you're only getting intelligences when you deal with light from a from the light side of the universe. When you start dealing in the dark and the black, that's when you get into a higher level. You can start tuning in from intelligences on a higher level. So that's why it's important or whatever, as far as not having an aura can make it good too, because certain beings cannot track you based on your aura, because certain extraterrestrials and certain beings can locate you, and even the government can locate you based on your aura, believe it or not. And actually they have agencies and intelligences, and it's a part of the not even necessarily the government, but private secret agencies track people based on their aura or whatever. So I mean, the aura thing can get really deep or whatever. So you want to start dealing with being a dark worker. This is the dark side of it. You want to make your aura disappear sometime so that you can go incognito and be invisible to certain ETs, certain agencies, certain people, and certain negative influences in general, so that they can't find you based on your light body or your aura. So that's why making your aura disappear is very important when you want to work in the society of Amun. And Amun was an ancient Egyptian deity that means hidden. So this is a whole nother school and a whole nother science when you deal with the science of Amun. So sometimes you want to go incognito and hidden. You want to be Amun. And then sometimes you want to be attuned, which is attuned is the opposite, or the high sun. This is when your aura is bright. This is the high noon. So yeah, you can make your aura shapeshift. Just like the sun goes through different degrees, and there's degrees where it's really bright, then there's degrees when you don't see it, then there's degrees when it's just coming up and it's red, and then there's degrees when it's setting. Your aura, you can do the same thing with your aura. You are a sun. You have a sun inside of your chest. And this is what actually makes your aura, believe it or not. They're not telling people this, but you have a sun located inside of you. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. And you can make that sun function the way that you want to function and get things that you want to get based on your sun radiating and creating different colors or different auras. So you have to learn how to work with that sun that is located inside of your chest. And it's called Ra, the sun that is located inside of your chest, and learn how to work with it, so that you can attract certain things to yourself. So I hope this video helped. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on a lot of spiritual topics. This is just the beginning of it. For those of you that have more questions, or you might want me to do a part 2, I could do a part 2. Look out for my new video on the Merkle Bar coming soon. I thank you guys for listening. I'm going to leave you in peace.